session of Daniel. We got cut off again on the last feed there, so I just want to touch on some scriptures we read earlier. If I can go ahead and open the scriptures here. Give me 1 second. It's on my phone here. I'm not using the hard copy today. I'm using the phone. Now, at the beginning, in Daniel 12, right? It says Michael. The time Michael will stand up. And what is that referring? The great prince who stands for the children of your people. Is that Michael the archangel? Is that who that is? And then we go on to the next verse. The next verse we know it's about the resurrection, because it says, many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth will awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. So, so people who die, they're not in hell or heaven. They're just asleep. That's what it looks like to me here. But some will go to everlasting heaven, and the others will go to everlasting hell. So that makes sense. I think that's it. It's kind of short and sweet there. I just want to get that out. We don't want to miss anything here. So, is there anything else, Holy Spirit, you want me to speak? Daniel is don't forget, he's also, besides being a prophet of God, he is a interpreter. Okay, that's who Daniel is, and I think he knows more than one language. It doesn't say to be an interpreter or a translator, you gotta know more than one languages. So, what's unique about Daniel is he knows the language of God's language. It just could be Hebrew, Aramaic, or Greek. The three languages of the Bible. Greek is still spoken today in Greece. So is Hebrew in Israel, obviously. But Aramaic, they don't speak it no more. Aramaic is a dead language. Okay, I think it might derive. That's where Arabic might have derived from in the Middle East. But Aramaic, it's not spoken no more for some reason. Okay, because Aramaic is where Ishmael, the sons of Ishmael, spoke Aramaic. The sons of Isaac spoke Hebrew. If that makes sense. So, we don't really see Aramaic. It's funny because the movie The Passion of Christ that Mel Gibson made, he used Aramaic. He used Aramaic in the whole movie. He didn't use any Greek or Hebrew. So I don't know why he did that, but that was his thing. So if I would have made a movie about the Passion of the Christ, Jesus Christ, I probably would have used Hebrew instead, because that's what Jesus spoke. I don't think he spoke Aramaic. We know that There are also other dead languages besides Aramic. There we don't like. There's so many races in the Bible, like Amalekites, Canaanites. I think that these races are not around no more, so language is not around. So God did a lot of ethnic cleansing, it sounds like, in the Bible. But that's what happens when you try to go up against God of Israel, you get annihilated. That's what happened. That's what we saw with Nebuchadnezzar, right? In the beginning of Daniel. So the last chapter is kind of like a recap of what happened in the beginning, and in the middle, and in the end. We saw Nebuchadnezzar, run some numbers on the Jews, and that was. It's funny because God will still use you if you're not a Christian. That's what's funny about this. Because Nebuchadnezzar he's not a believer. Either is Cyrus, and none of these guys believe in God, but God still used them somehow to do God's work. So we look at our nation, in the United States of America. Okay, I'm sorry, but our nation has gone far from the God of the Bible, and it's unfortunate. But the beginning. All the fathers that founded this great country, from George Washington to Benjamin Franklin, to even Andrew Jackson, they all were inspired by the scriptures. And they weren't perfect men. None of us are perfect, but we have strayed away from what they taught. And you can see Washington's writing he talks about the Bible a lot, and Jesus Christ. But enough about Washington. The thing is, we as a nation have adopted Eastern philosophies instead of teaching the West side, Western philosophies, which is Christ, Judeo-Christianity, which founded this great country. Okay, that's the original roots of it. Judeo-Christianity. This is what the U.S. of A. was founded on, and then that all got watered down somehow by the hippie movement. Sorry to say, but the peace and love, free love movement, and then you have the liberal teachings, and then they just threw the Bible aside. And like, we don't really teach the Bible no more. So that's why we have a lot of nightmares on these streets, in our schools too as well. So unless you go back to your original roots, where you were, how you were made, you'll always be lost. Okay? When you say lost in Bible terms, we're not talking about you're lost in the woods or anything. Your soul is lost, and it's not going to be good in the end until you find the true meaning of why you're here on this earth. That's what lost means in the Bible. Lost means it can be Gehenna, which we're trying to save you from. You don't want to be in Gehenna.